Now here it says using a ruler, a pencil, and a pair of compass, construct the triangle PQR such that PQ is equal to 9 centimeters, QPR is 60 degrees, and PR is equal to 12 centimeters. Now, before we do the constructing, let us try to do a little sketch to see how we are going to approach this. Now, first I look at the angle. They said that the angle QPR is 60 degrees. So therefore, I want Q, P, and R like this. So my angle is going to be right here. That is going to be 60 degrees. In addition to that, they told us that PQ is 9 centimeters. So PQ is 9 centimeters. And PR is 12 centimeters. So this is what we are going to do, only using the ruler and our compass. So I'm going to move my sketch over. So move my sketch over to make space for my drawing. Now here I have out my ruler and my compass. So now I am going to go ahead and construct the triangle. So PQ is 9 centimeters. So let me move this over a little bit. So starting at 0, that is going to be Q. So put Q right there, and at 9 right here is going to be P. So all I'm going to do, I'm going to draw a line connecting P and Q. Now I'm going to get my compass, and I'm going to put the needle right at P, because that's where the 60-degree angle is. Alright, I'm going to make my compass smaller, and then I am going to draw a semicircle. So we're going to draw a semicircle. Now let me move my ruler out of the way. Now in order to construct the 60-degree angle, I'm going to put my compass right where the semicircle cuts the line, and then let's rotate this slightly, and then I'm going to scribe an arc like this. Right. Now I'm done with my compass. Let's move it out of the way. Now get back our ruler. We're going to measure off 12 centimeters. We're going to draw our line starting at P and passing through the point where the two construction line intersect, and then we go all the way up until we reach 12. So that line is going to be PR. Right? So this line, so let me draw my line now. This line go all the way up to 12. And right there is going to be R. So let me move my ruler. So right here is going to be R. Right? So now all I have to do to finish this is to complete the triangle. So that is my triangle, and here I can put 60 degrees right there. So and here is 12 centimeters, and here is 9 centimeters. Okay, so that is my completed diagram PQR. Right, let's move on to the next question. Now in part B it says the diagram below shows two quadrilaterals R and S, where S is the image of R under a transformation. So let's look at the diagram. So we have S is the image of R. So clearly we can see that S is an enlargement. It's pretty obvious. So let's look at what the question is saying. So it said describe fully the single transformation that maps quadrilateral R onto quadrilateral S. Now we get 3 marks here. The first mark is to state that it's an enlargement. So it is an enlargement. So let's put enlargement. So the next thing we need to find is the scale factor. And the scale factor is normally found by taking the ratio of corresponding sides of the image and the object. So for instance, I'm going to take here this line right here. I'm going to take this line, and it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 squares. And I'm going to take this, the corresponding side of the object. So it is going to be 1, 2, 3. So a scale factor is equal to 6 over 3, which is equal to 2. Now we are going to find the center of enlargement. So let's find the center of enlargement. So let me clear here again. Now the next thing we need to find is the center of enlargement. So let's scroll down a bit so that we can show more of the grid. So I'm going to get my ruler. I'm going to connect corresponding points. So any two corresponding points. So I'm going to connect these two. Connect it like that. Connect them like that. And then I'm going to connect the next two. So what about these two? This one and this one. So let's connect them. Right? And something like that, passing through both of them. Now I can move my ruler. So notice where both lines intersect, right here. Let's change my color. Both lines intersect right there. So our center of enlargement is going to be at 3, 7. So we can write center of enlargement (3, 7). So let's put this information in the space provided. So 1 mark to state that it's an enlargement. 1 mark to state that the scale factor is 2, and we found it by 6 over 3. And the next mark is to state the center of enlargement is 3, 7. So that is 3 marks. Now, one thing to mention here is that whenever time we're doing enlargement and rotation, if we're going to describe fully the transformation, those questions are normally worth 3 marks. So let's move on to part 2. On the grid on page 12, draw the image of quadrilateral R when it is translated by the vector -4, 5. Name the image T. Right? So we have our vector -4, 5. So our vector is -4 and 5. Now all we're going to do, we're going to locate a point on R. So let's locate this point here. So this point here is 1, 2. So we're going to take 1 and 2, and we're going to add it to the vector, the translation vector. So 1 minus 4, that's going to give us -3. 2 plus 5, that's going to give us 7. So this point here that we located is going to move to -3, 7. So look for -3, 7. -3, 7 is right here. Now all I have to do is to complete the shape. So we move down by 1, and then we move across by 3. So 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3. And then we move up by 3. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So move up by 3. And then we're going to just connect this to this like that. So this is T. Right? Another way we could do this, we could also locate a point on R. We could locate the point on R. So this point here. And then this is a vector. -4, 5. So this is a translation vector, -4, 5. So -4 means we're going to move 4 spaces to our left. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And positive 5, we're moving 5 spaces up. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So notice that this point which we had located is the same. Right? And then you just redraw the object. Now let's move to the next part of the question. So part 3 says, on the grid on page 12, draw the image of quadrilateral R when it is rotated 180 degrees about the origin. Name the image M. So let's go back to our graph. Now what I'm going to do to draw the image under the rotation by 180 degrees, I am going to get my compass. So let's get our compass. Right, so here's my compass. Now I'm going to put the needle in this at the center, because they told us at the center of rotation is that the origin. Right, so mine is like that. Then I am going to locate a point and put my pencil on the point. Right, so let me change the color. Let me change the color to red. What I'm going to do now, I am going to draw a circle. So draw a circle like that. Right, and then I am going to get my ruler. Let's get my ruler. And then I am going to draw a line through the center and through the point on the object like this. Right, where the line intercepts the circle, we're going to make a next point, right? This. So that is a next point on our image. So let's go again and find a next point. So put the needle at the center of the circle. Then we're going to move to this point right here. We're going to draw a circle again.